Several weeks later, the hunting party is called to the western side of town early in the morning. Um, as you've gotten more used to their schedule, you're probably one of the first to arrive this time. Now that you know that how early they mean when they say we're gonna get here early,
Yeah.
one by one, start to arrive. But this time is strange because you just had a successful hunt. Normally, there's some downtime as you don't want to take more from the environment than what you need, but they also try to gather enough for dry spells just in case they can't acquire something. As what happened recently when you joined them.
Yeah.
Um, because no one starved, no one was getting to that point. There was still enough food for everyone due to the excess stores, but those were beginning to run out. And now with this creature, not only was everyone able to eat, but the stores were replenished. There's more than enough stock from this creature. Um, which makes this gathering kind of odd, because you've only been gathering supplemental creatures at this point, just to kind of, you know, um, just have some sort of something incoming. But they've been rather small creatures, just to offset how much you're taking from the food supply. Um, but there's, you just acquired that, and now inside of a couple of days, there's another meeting of the hunting party. And normally, you know what the purpose is when you set out to go hunting. But
hmm
but this time it was just need you to meet. You know, meet on the western side of town, and this time the chief is the last one to arrive. And everyone seems as confused as you initially felt. They're, you know, what is this all about? I don't know. We just fought. Fought, then rest. Fight, rest. What's so hard? The chief arrives. I'm sorry to have called you all so swiftly after a hunt. But I have received word that the Mountain of Light itself requires our aid.
Received word from who?
The light. There is a beacon upon the mountain that sheds its light and gives us the lights we see. And the darkness has decided to come for it and take it away from us. Cannot allow this to happen. And I believe that we are the only ones equipped to drive off these dark forces.
I am ready.
Then let us go. Journey up the mountain is difficult, to say the least. However, up the mountain, it seems as if they have scaled it before, and Bolt has placed these rope lifts. You attach to them and sort of pull yourself up in different locations that would normally be fairly difficult, and they were probably very difficult initially. The climb is made much easier with these devices. Spend the night up the side of the mountain. You get the closest look to the lights above the mountain at night than you ever have. And you just sit there and shift and sparkle. Jackaress comes over and sits next to you. Some meat for you.
Asur will take it from him with a nod of thanks.
You will need it for what lies ahead.
Do you know anything of what we are to face?
Only the darkness. And any fight against darkness itself is very dangerous. And very thrilling, you hear from behind.
He kind of smiles a little bit. This is true. But we will not falter. And we will defend the light with all that we have.
That we will do. Yes. Tianethra can be seen staring. She just stares up at the mountain towards the beacon. We will finally look forward to seeing this beacon again. If it is in danger, then we must protect it. It is my belief that the beacon is what is giving us all our powers. Yes. Our village's proximity to it. And as we grow and bask in its light night after night, some of us are granted abilities, such as the ones you've seen with our group, such as the ones you possess.
These powers are a gift. We need to protect the gift, not just for ourselves or the village now, but for the future.
She nods.
Asur will also kind of look up and stare at the mountain, seeing the lights play across the sky.
The sky is just beautiful. It is gorgeous, and it illuminates the campsite, and the lights dance across the campsite in conjunction with the fire that has been put to the camp. You see these large birds in the distant night sky as they're seemingly taking off from their nests and right before morning. And after a long night's sleep, you awaken and see this. The camp is disassembled and they ascend up the steepest part of the mountain at this point. And it is at the top, you see this large structure made of this white stone. Perfectly rounded, carved sections just heading up. It stands about 30 feet tall. And you see that perfectly smooth white floor just heading inside. It glows just a little, just white light. On the inside, as you step in and as the group all steps in and looks around, in the very center you see a pedestal that has a bowl, and water just seems to be filling the bowl. It's a clear bowl, like glass, that you've probably never seen. But it's constantly filling, as if water is just being poured from some not that there's no source. But the bowl, even though it's being filled with this water constantly, the water level is never rising.
Mm-hmm.
Tianethra immediately goes over and kneels towards the pedestal. You see several of them give respect to the holy sanctuary that they are now in. We are in the presence of the light here.
Asur kind of looks around, taking in everything, appreciating the sights that he's seen, whispering a quiet prayer.
Defenses can only come from so many places. You see the chief just kind of looking around. There's only 4 entrances into the temple. I believe that we can pair off. Asur, you're the newest. Who would you like to assist you? And which side do you want to defend?
I will take the north side, and I will take a Scalen with me.
Damn right you will. Alright. Everyone pair off. See, Tianethra and Ayana, Kali, Yekarus, and the chief and Erkenbolt go together in different sections. Some time passes, and the sky seems to dim. From around the nearby rock, you see this creature with horns just come around. Oh, there it is.
Asur will raise his shield and ready his spear.
Scallon just holds his hands out, and flame and water begin pouring from flame from one hand and water from the other. All right, come on, you little bastard. See the creature come around and begin running towards the temple. Scallon immediately takes the flame and hurls it towards it, and it just ricochets off to no effect. Oh.
Asur will take 2 steps forward and kind of bend his knees a little bit, ready to absorb its charge.
Okay. So you take it and go ahead and roll an athletics check as you're gonna kind of trying to wrestle it to the ground, or just trying to hit the shield and just kind of bring it to the ground to stop its movement.
Rolled an 18 plus 9 is 27.
That's enough. It collides against you, and you just wrench it down, and it falls to the ground. And Scallon immediately takes the water and throws it up into the air, and these droplets turn to icicles, and then just kind of hit it along its body, just piercing into it. It seems to hurt it.
While he's doing that, I'll thrust downward with my spear.
You do so, and it just shatters. It's completely ineffective. Oh no! You just hold it there!
I will.
And you see just Escalon, he takes the earth itself, makes a fist, and just starts beating on its head until it breaks its head open. Here! He focuses on the white stone of the temple. Please lend me your power. He reaches into the pillar and pulls out a white spear. He holds it to you.
Asur will grab it, like shake it a little bit to get its weight.
It's a little heavier than what you're used to.
Okay.
But there's something about it, a connection immediately as it's in your hand. It doesn't feel as flimsy.
He kind of gives him a look like, yeah. And he'll kind of give a wide-eyed grin and stab again. And just kind of, he wants to be like 2 paces ahead of Scalen, just to give him room to, like, not, in case he gets knocked back a little bit.
So another creature comes in from the woods, and you can hear sounds now around you in different locations, and you hear the others screaming and fighting. And 2 more creatures come out of the woods towards you, of the same type. This large, just blackened creature, red eyes and mouth. As it opens its mouth, it's just seems like a void into a creature, like a shadowed creature.
He'll brace. He'll brace for them again.
Okay.
Ready, spear.
So you're gonna ready a spear and just thrust it in. Go ahead and make an attack.
Okay. Another 18.
Okay.
27 to hit. Two on a d6 plus 7 is 9.
All right. The spear this time pierces into the creature, and you see the shadow where the wound is just ignite in this light that just shines from within the creature from where the wound hit. And you hear the creature just scream and stand up, and the wound just seems to keep getting bigger and bigger from the pointed end of this spear that you now have. That's a way to do it. And he throws another series of icicle shards that just pierce into the creatures, and the one that you hit actually falls down, seizing from the injury that you apparently gave it. The other one comes up and rakes across your face, hitting you, just scarring and just scratching for 12 points of damage.
Reacting to that, Asur will kind of give a shove with his shield to make space for the spear, and then again bring it right through.
Okay, go ahead. This one's already been damaged by the icicles.
Nat one.
Oh man. You have another attack though, right?
I do. 19 plus 9, 28 to hit.
So you kind of get hit by that, and you swing, just completely whiffing. You get your footing back and go in for another strike, this time going straight into its stomach and pushing up on it. How much damage?
Uh, 9 damage.
Okay. And pushing up on it, the spear just kind of sinks in. It's just seems to be using its weight. It just sinks in, creating this large white wound, and it dissipates into the shadow. I think we found your knack.
I am always a shield. And he starts kind of watching the doorway, watching for the next ones.
Yeah.
Starts beating kind of a drum beat on the shield.
Several more come, and the two of you are able to work together well enough to dispatch them until you hear a loud scream from one of the sides. No, Chief! You hear Erkenbolt.
I look back.
You can't really see the other wings of the temple. It's circular in nature, and it's just across. That it just kind of goes to the north and the south side, and then east and west, and so they're on one of the other sides of the temple that you can't see. You can just hear them.
He kind of turns his head. Go see.
I can wall them off. He pushes up, and a wall of stone just appears, kind of leaning forward a little. We have to hold this.
Yes.
You hear Arkenbolt, the Inathra! On my way! You can hear just the movement of people behind. You hear Yakaras, hold this. I will reinforce the Inathra's spot. So they seem to be moving positions and leaving Yakaras, the dragon, to his own wing, and repositioning to deal with whatever happened with the chief. Hear that? They got it. He'll be fine.
All right.
One of the creatures jumps over the wall of stone towards you.
I'm ready.
All right, go ahead and roll the attack.
First attack is 26 to hit.
Yeah, that definitely hits.
For 8 damage.
Okay. That wound again appears. This severing light that begins splitting the creature in half. Like you pierce and withdraw, and then that wound just seemingly keeps cutting through it until it is fully severed. And it drops into, or it just fades into the shadow. Some time passes, and eventually the creatures stop coming. We good.
Nothing over here.
Fine. How's the chief? I'll be fine. Everyone come back towards the center, and I believe it's over. As you begin seeing the daylight sort of return to the area.
Give Escalin like a friendly punch on the arm and
Aye,
go back. Well done.
you too. Kind of all gather. You see the chief standing, or he's sitting near the pedestal. A large gash on his chest. Does not look fine. I'm doing all that I can. Everything will be fine. We have defended the Temple of Light. That you have. You hear another voice.
Asir looks around for the other voice.
You see a woman off in a corner. She has not been there before. Long silken robes, but you don't know what that material is. Long dark hair, wavy. Very tall and glowing presence. Thank you all for coming to my aid. Who's that? Tanethra kneels and lowers her head. That is the light. Bow down before her now.
Asir will immediately drop to his knees.
Thank you. But you may stand, my servants. They all stand.
Yep.
Routinely, you have all come above and beyond to the aid of your village, to the aid of all mankind. And now to the aid of me. To preserve this place when I cannot reach down and do so myself. I can only impart these gifts from a distance to the ones you all have now. But the darkness is far more direct. It itself summons creatures and beings of all kinds. I have kept it at bay for as long as I can. Now it seems we share this world. And it is time I enlighten you all as to what my purpose is for all of you. I have tried to keep things as basic as I can, but for you chosen few, I will explain further. I am a source of light. I am the reason you all exist. My name is Nyx. My power comes in two forms. What you see before you, as well as its antithesis, the darkness. I've tried to separate that self from me. In doing so, it has grown its own personality, its own rules, its own desire. It has a thirst for destruction. It will target different places of the world. A world that it was my intention for none of you to see. I gave you a spot, the cradle of life. And that is where all mankind could be nurtured and flourish. Your village. But I see now that is a mistake. One among you is the chief. You will remain in that village. Leading. Serving as a point for the others to return to should they require aid. But the rest of you, I need each of you to carry with you villagers. And find a place for a new settlement. The population will grow more rapidly. And when that population grows, you will need more food, and it is out there. You each will grow. You will have families. And this darkness will grow as well. And it will come to attack this world time and time again. And when it does, long after you are all dead. You will each be called back to defend this world. You will not know who you are. You will be in a different body, different memories, different history. But I think you will rise to the occasion as your spirit is moved from place to place. The shining lights against the darkness, the ones that can actually fight back. What say you all?
Asur kind of looks around to his compatriots.
If that is my duty, I will do whatever. I will spend an eternity fighting against this darkness, whatever it may be. Let's fight!
I live to protect the light, and will do so for as long as I am able.
Icarus? Yes. From you, a new race will spawn. Split down the middle of light and dark. They will live many generations and find perches amongst the world in different locations. They will be the watchtowers of the world, always struggling for isolation and keeping their space in order to encourage them to watch their domains and fight back against anything small that should invade. Ka'ali, from you the connection to the moon and to the land, I grant you powers over the nature itself. From you, an order will be established of watchers that will keep themselves alert to invaders from the plains and from unnatural imbalances throughout the world. The Druidic Order. Ayana, your ability to shift into humanoid forms of different creatures will be inherited among your children, and they will grow and blossom in different ways, and the animals' spirits that you have within you will be split into the different clans of your children and their children. Some of them will become rulers in the world, and others will sneak into the shadows and watch. Tenathra, your heritage will live long years, carrying with it history upon history and patience to maintain this history. You will found the elven societies, and I encourage you all, Tianathra, to travel to a distant plane. It is there you will cultivate your heritage and learn of the Fae spirits, and grow and bond with them until it is your time to return to this world. Iskalin, the deep underground of the dwarven societies will grow from your seed. As well as raw magic between several of you. Erkenbolt, from you, your next life will be the Watcher from age to age. You will appear and not know where you came from. But it is from you that we will see when the others need to come and arrive and resolve. You will know them to be friends. And Asur, the warrior of light, to you, I give you the stars, and an ever-reaching civilization that must be maintained throughout the ages. The numbers coming from you will equal the stars. For each of you, a time will come when you need to be called back. As threats to the world grow more and more, as the tensions rise and fall, sometimes a spiritual leader must arrive. Each of your civilizations will be in place, and they will rise and fall, and sometimes be in ruin before they are rebuilt. I hope that it will only take one of you to resolve whatever threatens the world. But I fear that there will be one day, there will be something that threatens the world to the magnitude it will require you all to reassemble again. Please stand vigilant in whatever darkness threatens you. I fear that if you are all called to a single event, that may be the end of the cycle in which I am imparting to you now. I would like to think that I am still around for whenever that happens. But I cannot see clearly into the future that far. And that terrifies me. When I am gone, you will be the light that preserves this world. Ka'ali, step forward. She does so. You will live long years when you arrive to the world on each location. To you, I grant a title, the Watcher of the Ages, the Melindra. She nods. If Yakaris or Erkenbold are unable or simply not around, the responsibility then falls to you. She nods. Asur,
He rises and steps forward.
you will have a nation. And as you said, you will be protectors of them. Protectors of the stars. Or a protector of the stars. The Nakamura.
He nods.
Erkenbolt. Your designs will carry with you. They will be important throughout the ages, more so than you believe. The designer of the world. The architect. The Scalen. The Dune. The Titan Caller. I wish you all luck. Your journey ahead. Drink from the waters and take your roles. The black wing looms over you. Seiji. And the porcelain mask leans down. The half porcelain mask of Carista. As you watch each of them drink from the bowl. This memory has been within you this whole time. You are not ready to die.
No. My work is not yet done.
Does this origin give you any insights?
It does. And his voice is cracked a little bit. This is who we are. We always were. I am. The first, he made a pact. I must fulfill it.
She nods.
He kind of looks at her with like some tears in his eyes.
I believe I can identify almost all of these figures. Yourself, Asur Nakamura, Melendra, Iska Ali, who is Ayana,
He shakes his head. I only recognize Arkenbolt.
the architect.
He kind of wrinkles his brow. There is the strongest bow user I've ever met. Was Adiel. His face is kind of scrunched up in thought.
She said that she could transform into many creatures. Her power to transform and her hair made me believe that it could be Elena.
He nods.
Elena transforms into the wolf.
She does.
But you do bring up a point. ADL transforms into the spider. And there are many generations between now and then.
He nods.
What of Escalon?
His facility with magic. He kind of shakes his head slowly. There was once a dwarf who came to us, but I cannot think of it.
There is an entire region known as Tianethra. is where the elves live. My concern, though, is the final member of the party. The chief. When you struck those creatures, your light pierced through them. And he suffered a near mortal wound from one of them. Could the darkness have penetrated into his soul?
It could have, with or without his knowledge.
Chief Winnesul Calm. Recently within your guild, there was a woman that came there by the name of Rathania,
Yes.
who spoke of a vile leader raising corpses from the dead. And the place you said she came from was Win Co. Considering we have a place named after one of the people here, Tianethra for certain, is it then possible that Winco stands for Winnesul Calm? And could the vile leader that is raising armies of the dead be similar to a chief that could raise the spirits?
Could very well be.
It is then possible that that man may be working for the darkness.
He nods.
Which is, in our case, the very being that we cannot name.
Seiji's eyes go a little wide. Wincombe. If this is the event of which they spoke, of which she spoke, and the spirits of the first, the souls of the first, have all come back in one form or another, is this the end?
Not for you. She slashes the cord. And that is where we're going to close.
Wow. Oh man. I can see several of the Fate Forge's brains bursting at all this.
Oh, yeah.
What an origin story though.
I hope you enjoyed it.
I did very much.
So, it kind of puts you on a little bit of an Easter egg hunt. Who exactly who is, if Yekaris is around, like, who is it?
right? Like a couple, okay, so Asir, Erkenbolt, those are pretty obvious. Kaali also. The rest are not not as clear.
Mm-hmm.
Like Krista said, Lena's a possibility, but I guess Adil is a possibility too, or at least they split the bloodline somehow, or they're both something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we haven't really talked to the dwarves much, or done anything with them at all.
Mm-mm.
Like I don't even know if we know where they're from. Um, let's see. Tinethra, probably some information would be found in the heart of the Elven civilization, which we talked about getting access to, but in a kind of a we'll get to that eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And but who's Yekaris? Would Saphira know? Where's Sarah in all of this?
Right, because he is the he's you know he's the first
Tho-
one.
Those are the two halves. Those are the two sides of the dragons that we have right now.
Mm-hmm. And he's all of it. So it could be anywhere.
Yeah,
It could be King Temra.
I was afraid of that.
Just saying. The only
Yeah,
requisite is a dragon.
that's true.
And
God. God. Because, like, the pattern was, with the exception of the architect, well, and even the architect is not like. So, we're getting a little spicy here, but,
mm-hmm.
like, all the ones that we know for sure, none of them are deities. None of them are demigods, except for the architect.
Right.
We are not 100% sure of his status. We think he's a god or he's on that level, but he's always a little. He lives with us.
Mm-hmm.
He has a room in our house.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, he is. He would have been, the one. So, I mean, he is a deity. He has he has temples. He has,
Hmm.
followers and everything, and he has deity powers. But he was also the one that is the immortal. He's the one that doesn't die and come back as well.
Hmm.
So that can answer that. Like he's, he was sort of put there to always be around, you know. Um, whereas everyone else is, normal life cycles and then they disappear for a millennia and come back in a new form. And, so while you've been gone for a millennia, maybe two of the others showed up at different points,
Right.
like at 250 and 750 years, there was one that was alive then and another that was alive, and then that one died off, and then a few years later you showed up, for instance. The point was to leapfrog all of you throughout
Hmm.
the ages to handle different problems that were springing up. And as she said, if essentially, so essentially, she said, I don't have any control over this. Like I'm setting you all free. Like I feel that based on what I'm seeing, that you all need to be free and be given this power to watch over yourselves. And if I'm gone, this will still continue. Um, so she had some fear already that something was going to happen. And
Which was very interesting because it mirrored the Raven Queen's hesitation that we saw a couple of sessions ago.
mm-hmm,
Because she said this literally the same phrase. I can't see that far ahead, so I'm not sure.
mm-hmm.
It's very interesting.
And so she stated that basically if whatever whatever's going on that governs when you all return, if for some reason it's detecting something where you all come back at the same time, that that may be the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, whatever's causing this cycle, she said that may be the end of it. That may be the 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 driving force that is, it's so great that it's calling on all this power, and it may exhaust all of it in that one burst, just to give the world a fighting chance, which actually mirrors Gaia as well, because that, Gaia with the Titans, she calls upon the Titans when the world is at its greatest need. So there's a lot of mirrors that seem to be attributed to this being the light, the Nyx that was the origin, you know. So you can see sort of threads of, oh, I can see how some of the other gods kind of act like that, or have this power, or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's several of these figures that we don't know if they're alive. We don't know, hardly anything about them. Like you said, Ayana could be,
Yeah.
a couple different, you got a couple key figures already.
Yeah.
But interestingly, you do have someone in the party, Vesper, that can see souls, and identify old souls. She's done that in the past.
God, I hope CG remembers all of this when he gets up.
And and again, it for this world to have these names, like to have an entire region, an elven region named Tianethra. It's like, where'd that name come from? Because you just named your region this. So where'd that come from? And has she already been around, or is it just one of those cosmic things that's like, or, she's on the way, and just kind of like a prophecy, like her name is heard somehow and relayed, and then when they settled there, they're hoping for this being's return. Is there some kind of lore or knowledge within the elven libraries that reference where did this name come into being? And if so, are they tracking the Tianethra of their culture? Are they actually fully aware? Because remember, she said you're gonna remember longer than everybody else because of your lifespans. So is it possible that they actually have a record of all of her souls, traveling from place to place?
That's interesting. All right, we drop everything and we start going around the world. All right, we start collecting, all the pieces of the Triforce, and go to the dwarves and go to the elves, and
And
go
then,
team up with Rithania to kick the guy in Wincombe's ass.
yeah, but what about that spear?
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that. Oh my god! Oh my god! So I don't know if this is part of the recording or not, but
It is. Well, it's being recorded. I don't know if it's going to be part of the video.
I was not given any instruction for the character. Like, yet somehow he fought with a spear. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm just not creative enough, and I just made the exact same character. But
Oh man.